Welcome to Take a Breath, a podcast for creating practical calm in the messy middle of midlife. I'm Polly, and this is your space to pause. Because life in midlife is full on, between work, family, menopause, and the mental load, your nervous system can easily end up in constant overdrive, leaving you feeling exhausted, reactive, and overwhelmed by even the smallest things. Each week, I'll share my own tools alongside honest conversations and practical nervous system support to help you create more calm, peace, joy, and inner steadiness, not by escaping your life, because that's totally unrealistic, but by meeting it differently. So whenever you're ready, let's take a breath in through the nose. Feel your belly rise, your ribs expand, and as you exhale, let's begin. Hello and welcome. Now, you may well have noticed I've got a new intro and a new name to the podcast. I've been thinking about this for a while, of changing the name from Metamorphosis. Metamorphosis served me really well for over a year. But my work has really moved on from working just with menopause, and I've really found my area in the menopause and midlife world, which is all about supporting women to really create a sense of calm within themselves at this really full-on time of life. And my work has really gone down the path of breath work and nervous system regulation. And I felt like Metamorphosis didn't really reflect that. So I've changed the name. Why not? To Take a Breath. It's so funny, isn't it? Because for ages I was pondering about it, thinking, is this just going to be really confusing for my listeners? But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter, but it just feels more aligned with what I want this podcast to be about. It really is about giving you very practical tools to use to get a sense of calm, of peacefulness, of happiness, of joy in the very messy middle of midlife. Because unfortunately nowadays, we don't just get calm. We have to create it. We have to find ways or intentionally of carving out space and time to regulate our nervous systems and to feel that sense of calm if we are very, very busy, which a lot of midlife women are. So there we go. There's the new name, Take a Breath. I hope you like it. I hope you like the new intro. I've also got new artwork for the podcast. And my aim is to continue to bring you conversations which will really give you practical tools. I too want to learn more tools, more different ways that we can feel as good as we can from this stage in our lives to the end of our lives. And I'm also going to be sharing more of what I do and some of my tools as well. Okay, let's move on to this week's episode where I'm chatting with the absolutely brilliant Margaret de Petro. Now, Margaret works with people all around the world. She has an incredible background, many decades working in psychotherapy, coaching, NLP, and she's also got so many amazing intuitive gifts. At the heart of her work is helping people feel more connected and confident in who they are and where they're heading. Her work really does beautifully bridge science, spirituality, and self-awareness, all the things I love. Now, in this conversation, we explore that familiar midlife moment, which I definitely had, of realizing that you've lost touch with really who you are. You get that quiet sort of question constantly niggling at the back of your mind of, is this it? We also talk about intuition and how to access it in real practical ways. We talk about your energy field and how it responds to your thoughts, your environment, and to your emotions, and also how it can actually be measured. Margaret also shares why we really do need to think about protecting our energetic boundaries and why it really does matter, and also shares how simple it can be. She offers also really powerful insights into the heart's electromagnetic energy. It's really fascinating. We talk about the role of presence and gratitude as well. And also, Margaret gives some gentle tools for navigating really overwhelming emotions, things like grief. This is a conversation that really does invite you to slow down, to tune in, and remember that your inner wisdom is still there. It might just be waiting for a little space to speak up. So, without further ado, please welcome the absolutely fantastic Margaret de Petro. Margaret, thank you so much for joining me today. It's absolutely wonderful that you're here, and welcome to Metamorphosis.
Thank you very much for inviting me. I'm really excited for our conversation.
Yes, well, me too. I mean, Margaret, you have lived a life from what I know about you, the little I know about you. You've done many different careers, you've lived in lots of different places.
Yes.
So I wonder if you could just tell me a bit about what drives you today. You know, what is your passion today? Has it always been the same, or has it changed as you've moved through different seasons of your life?
I think it has. I think there's been a common denominator right from when I was very small, because I'm always fascinated with people and how people respond, to various things. So yes, I've had quite a sort of a varied journey, really, from psychology into the metaphysical side of things. So yes, I've sort of brought those two together, and now I feel that I'm able to sort of offer different things to women and to obviously my other clients as well, that are bringing both of those sides in. So it's really getting to know yourself as an energy, as well as getting to know yourself as a carbon physical person. So yes, it's changed, but I really enjoy it, and I consistently am moving on, sort of bringing in something new as well.
Yeah, I mean, you've got so many gifts. Obviously, you've got your psychology. You
Yes.
talk about the metaphysical. Can you just explain what
Mm.
does that actually mean to those who
The
might not know?
metaphysical.
Yes.
The metaphysical is, well, meta is a Greek word for beyond. So metaphysical is beyond the physical.
Hmm.
So it's the human energy field, it's the aura, it's the chakras, it's spirit world as well. It's anything that is beyond what you can tangibly touch, but what in many cases we can scientifically prove.
Yeah.
So yes, the metaphysical is a very exciting subject.
And what drew you to that side of your work? Was it an experience that you had when you were very young? Is it something you've always
Mhm.
known that you were able to, you're just an interest that you always had?
Yes, right from the very beginning, I was very interested in things because my grandfather was he was a clairvoyant. He was a miner, and he had an amazing way of looking at nature. He used to go foraging and all sorts of different things, and he was incredibly clairvoyant. So I was really brought up with that from being very small, and it being very normal, really. And then it sort of died down a bit when I was sort of probably in the 80s when I took psychology. But after that, I got more interested in it and started to learn about different forms of healing, and took all sorts of different courses and things at the Arthur Findlay College down in London. So I realized that both the psychological and the metaphysical, they sort of sit hand in hand.
And I love that because I think so many of us can brush off the sort of metaphysical side of things, thinking it's all a bit woo-woo,
Yes.
and sort of lean more into the science. But actually, what I love about what you're doing is you're marrying both of these worlds together
Hmm.
to help us, well, help women, help other people you work with move forward. Can I just ask first of all, because just thinking about the people listening to this podcast who
Yes.
primarily are women, primarily in the middle of their life, a lot of them, and this was myself included, kind of can get to a point where they have had many different roles, worn very many different hats at this stage in life. And it's
Yes.
very usual and very often what happens is that we sort of lose a sense of ourselves, of who we
Mhm.
are and what we're here to do in this world, because we're really so focused on everything else that we're doing. And we get this real sense of disconnection from
Mhm.
ourselves. And often what I hear is like, right, we get to a point where it's like, well, I know there's more to life than this. I know there's more for me than this. And it's almost like we've got to find a way back to ourselves and to what our purpose is and what we're here to do. Why do you think that we get that sense of disconnection, of that feeling of directionless? And where do we begin to start to find our way back again? I will only ever recommend brands that I know, love, and use myself. And one of those is Ancient and Brave. Honestly, they've become part of my daily habits. The very first thing I do every morning is pour myself a big glass of water with their true hydration in it. It feels like such a simple ritual, but it really sets me up for the day. And I know I'm properly rehydrating with their blend of electrolytes and minerals, especially before I exercise, which I always do in the morning. Then later on, when I make my coffee, I stir in their true collagen powder into the coffee. Now, it blends in straight away, no fuss, there's no taste, and collagen is something we naturally lose as we age, but it's so important for our skin, joints, and overall vitality. Now, I'll be honest, Ancient and Brave may cost a little more than some of the tubs you'll spot on supermarket shelves, but the difference is you're getting the highest quality ingredients, sourced with integrity and tested to a higher standard, and absolutely no nasties added. That's why I trust them and why I think they're worth every penny. And because I want you to be able to try them out for yourself, I've got a special offer for you. As a listener of this podcast, you can get 20% off your very first order. All you need to do is click the link in the show notes and pop in the code POLYW20 at checkout. They've got more than just collagen and hydration too. They've got creatine, they've got blends, supplements. So it's a perfect chance to explore their range and make the most of that 20% off.
Well, I think women are amazing anyway because they're so multifaceted, and I don't think they give themselves the credit that they do so many different roles in their life. And I feel that they sort of these daily responsibilities, they sort of pull women away from who they are inside of themselves or internally or their inner world. And also, I think that they tend to, put other people often before themselves, like their children or their husbands or perhaps their carers or whatever, or even in the working situation, they may still have that role that is nurturing. So they tend to put themselves on the back run of the ladder, so to speak. So I feel that what happens there is they sort of begin to lose their identity really because they are sort of scattered in all these different roles and they do them incredibly well, obviously. So what happens is they sort of lose themselves. And I think there comes a point where when the children are grown or, sort of in midlife, where things are slightly easier to be able to focus on themselves, they can start to, sort of think, what do they really, really want? And I think one of the biggest things is women tend to lose that sort of sight of what they want. And they
Mm-hmm.
don't really know how to go about finding what they want. So there's many things that we can do there to find out what is their passion, what they prefer to do in life going forwards. So yes, I think that there's so many women out there that are incredible masters of so much, but have not given themselves that opportunity really to allow that to unfold.
And that you're so right. It's really figuring out what it is that actually you want to do. I think we all are quite good at knowing what we don't want, but actually figuring
Yes.
out what we really do want moving forward
Mm.
is such a big step. So in order to do that, Margaret, what do you
Mhm.
suggest?
Well, I think one of the biggest things, what you've just said, you know, what you don't want is I often say to clients to write down a list of what they don't want, because what they do want will then become apparent when they're looking down the list. And then once they sort of see what they do want, because they know what they don't want, then to look at, say, the value of what they want and put it into to the top 10 or whatever it is. And then it's just looking at that, because doing small things, taking small steps into what they really, really want can actually make such a difference. But it can even come with just literally starting to think about what do they prefer,
Hmm.
right down to, you know, what do they prefer in the morning? Do they prefer tea or coffee? And just allowing their intuitive to guide them. And then they start to build that up. And that leads them obviously to their passion.
Yeah, so you mentioned that allowing their intuition to guide them. So
Yes.
this is something I'm so fascinated by because it's always something which I've always trusted my intuition. I've always known
Hmm.
it's there, but maybe sometimes, I've veered a little bit away from it. But it's something which a lot of people will dismiss
Hmm.
and not listen to, but where it's there. Can you, Margaret, from your point of view, just explain to us what intuition is,
Okay.
how it can guide us and how we can really tune into it a little bit more?
Okay. Well, the intuition is sort of that quiet inner knowing. And you're right, a lot of people will dismiss that and say, you know, they don't sort of allow themselves to be guided by it. But it's sort of a blend of instinct, what you're picking up about things. It's a blend of sensitivity around people or around situations. And women are very you know, sort of good at that. They're very emotionally connected with sensitivity. And also, it can be the intuition can come from just lived experiences that they've had, where they've sort of gone with what they thought was correct. And the outcome was far better when they'd done that. And when they had not gone with what they felt their intuition was telling them, then, you know, it's sort of gone down a different road or a different pathway. So intuition is a natural ability. We've all got it. I feel it's more intelligent than our own brain intelligence. I feel that, you know, it comes to us in that time when we are quiet, like washing the dishes or in the shower or going for a walk in the countryside, when our mind is less busy, then our intuition can, you know, sort of come in and link with us. We have such busy minds nowadays, and I think that's one of the things that is such a shame, that so many people don't value their intuition enough to just to sit perhaps in the silence for 5 minutes a day and just empty their minds. But intuition, I feel, it connects with that sixth sense that we have, where we've got that sense of knowing.
Yeah. And do you think that sense of knowing comes from all, it's in our DNA, it comes from all of our ancestors gone past, and it's sort of all
Mm.
that knowing is sort of being brought forward towards us? Is it from different, is it an energetic thing from different
Mhm.
timelines? Obviously we don't know, but I wonder if you have any insight into that.
Mhm. Well, I think the intuition is all of those things really, because yes, I do feel we have memory in our molecular system and our cellular system. You know, that memory is there from past lives, if people believe in past lives or past experiences, where we glean information and then our body emotionally imprints that. So I feel that intuition is perhaps higher than that, in the sense that if we do empty our mind, we can sort of connect with the you know, the consciousness that's out there, where all solutions really reside. So I think intuition is within us, but it's also without us. It's outside of us as well. But I think it's also, you know, the more that you use intuition, the more you strengthen that, the more you give it, you know, sort of value, the more that it will help you. It's almost like it's there, but we just don't listen to it. So I think, yes, if we use it, if we sort of allow that time to act upon whatever it is that we're being given, then I think that way it grows and we start to trust it.
Yeah.
So intuition, I think, is really, really important.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many times when you might say, oh, I knew that I should have gone that way, or I knew I should have chosen
Yes.
that path, and you don't. But actually
Yes.
there's that inner sense. So yeah, you're right. We it's there. It's just learning to trust it. And that's the hard bit. When you say emptying your mind,
Yes.
so that we can actually allow it to really, so
Hmm.
that we can feel it more. That's obviously the hard bit, and that's what you
Totally.
work a lot of with a lot of people about with, and I do similar work as well through breath
Hmm.
work and all of that as well. What would you say is one of the tricks, not the tricks, but one way to really help people with that? Because our minds are so busy, and I mean, I find it incredibly hard to empty. I can notice, I can kind of fall out of my mind so I can notice what's going on. But do you feel it's ever possible to get to a point where you really can empty out?
I think you can. I think it does take practice because I think we're sort of geared more into the rational mind, the analytical mind, the
Hmm.
solving mind. And I think we're brought up, from school and then with our work and with everything else. So it's very much about sort of being in our heads. But with the intuitive and with slowing down the mind, really, there's so many different things that you can do. One thing, if somebody has, if it's very difficult for them to calm their minds down, their thinking process down, I often think that using our senses, so say, for instance, just stopping and saying, what do I see? Let me think of 5 things that I see around me. Then, sort of 4 things of what I can hear, 3 things of what I can feel, and so on and so forth. So you're using your senses and you're sort of stopping the chatter in your mind just for a moment, and you're noticing being present in the room or wherever you are. So I think that's something that is really good to do.
Hmm.
Also, I think just things like, listening to music that is very calming, because obviously we're vibration, we're frequency. So we all have a particular frequency that is going to be very beautiful to us, that will calm us down. So listening to a favorite piece of music would be good. Even, sort of going out into nature, because we're
Yeah.
electromagnetic beings, and
Mm.
we don't realize that just by, sort of walking out into nature, being around trees, which emit, quantum energy. So all of that starts to calm us down. So there are lots of different things you can do. I mean, breathing obviously is incredibly important, being aware of the breath
Hmm.
and perhaps following the breath, through the nostrils down into the
Yeah.
lungs,
Yeah,
and
I
then
love that.
holding on to it and breathing out. Just being aware, I think, is really, really important. So yes, it's about gathering the presence around you, sort of noticing what's actually happening now.
Absolutely. So in terms of energy, so you talked about that, we are energetic beings.
Yes.
Vibrational frequency is
Hmm.
everything. And I'd really like to talk a bit about this, because I think everything starts to make sense when you really understand that
Hmm.
we are energetic beings, why certain people drain us, when some people make us feel
Hmm.
heavy, but yet why sometimes we can feel so light and bright, particularly if you're out in nature.
Hmm.
And I think you communicate this so clearly. So I wonder, Margaret, can you explain to the listeners a little bit more about that, about us being energetic beings, and our energy field that we all have, and how it can
Hmm.
affect us, just knowing this, and the way that we live?
Yes. So we are electromagnetic energy beings. We have various parts of us. In fact, we're more energy than we are physical.
Mm,
But the energy field around us, it reflects our emotional and mental and spiritual and physical sense. So it connects us to who we are. And also this energy, we can expand it if we wish to by thinking positive thoughts. But when we're around people, say, if you go to the office and it's a Monday morning and, you're sort of tired because you've been really busy with family or whatever it is at the weekend, and you're around sort of in an environment that is a little bit negative, then yes, we do. We absorb that negative energy to us. We bring it to us and we absorb it. Even just going to a supermarket can actually change our electromagnetic energy field, because there are so many people in the supermarket that have got lots of different challenges. They may not be feeling so well, or they've got money problems or whatever. Excuse me. And when you pass them, it's actually physics for your energy field to help balance their energy field. So when you come out of the supermarket, you can feel quite drained. And it's the same even with your family that you absolutely adore, or your best friend that you absolutely love. If you're open to that person and they are wanting energy, that they'll be attracted to you and they will gently take that energy, and we will give it willingly. However, we can actually learn to, there are practices that you can learn to actually hold on to your own electromagnetic energy, and that's to do with thought. And thought, I feel, is the most powerful cosmic tool that we have. And just by thinking that our energy field is protected, but it's able to give out lots and lots of love and energy, but it doesn't absorb negative energy, we can do that as a practice, and it does make a difference. I used to do, or I was asked to do lectures in hospitals about the human energy field and what have you many, many years ago, and also speak with GPs. And when GPs are in their environment with people who are very poorly and very needy, bless them, their energy really does, it's pulled away from them, or they take on that negative energy by the end of the day. That can be quite exhausting. So just teaching them simple skills of just using the thought. So, think that you're in a bubble or whatever you want, and that you can give out beautiful energy, but you're not taking it on board. Because our aura is produced by our oils and vapors that are exuded from our endocrinal system. So it's how we're feeling emotionally. And that will create the energy field that we have. And we need to keep that safe. And also, we need to sort of, almost like we shower every day, we need to almost like cleanse our aura. And remarkably, because it's electromagnetic, cold water on your back can drop the energy field. You can have an elastic band around your wrist and you can snap it, and that can drop the energy field as well, just for a moment. So we can make that energy field healthier for us to, sort of manage out in the world. But it is quite remarkable. It's something that when we're happy, it's very expansive. And also, when you're dealing with, sort of feeling good, your heart is going to have an effect on that energy field as well. And that's going to expand it even more. So when you're sad, it's going to pull towards you, and it's going to be a much denser energy. But it's an amazing subject, and it is who we are, and we create it, which is amazing.
And you feel someone's energy field when you
my
feel
goodness.
that, don't you? You
Totally.
feel, radiators or drains, I like to call them.
Yes.
You feel someone
Yes.
radiating towards you or taking it from you.
Yes.
So in order to protect that
Yes.
our own energy field, which we're putting out there. So you said we can think about a protective bubble around us, simply around us, which allows us to give out good feelings, but to protect anybody from stealing, as it were, or taking our energy, or us taking any negative energy. I actually once used to think about it as putting on almost like an invisibility cloak and wrapping it around.
Totally. I mean, it can be anything that you feel protects you. I mean, if you have faith, you could use, a prayer if you wanted to. But the thought is the most powerful cosmic tool. What we think is whom we are. And so, every thought that we send out there is going to have an effect on us. So if you send a loving thought that you're protecting your aura, then it is protected.
Yeah, okay. And so cleansing it, water, jumping in the
Yes,
shower. I love that. That's a really good tip as well. You mentioned the heart
yes,
there, because I mean
yes.
the heart, it's more, has it got more
It
electromagnetic
has.
energy
Yeah.
than the brain?
It
Is that,
certainly has.
yes.
It's 60 times more powerful than the brain, which is unbelievably when you think about it. But your heart is you, and it functions with truth, it functions with love. And literally your heart, if you're happy when you walk into a room, your heart energy is pushed out ahead of you. So people are aware through your aura and through your heart energy, that you are, somebody that they can go and speak to, or perhaps, tell something to them, knowing that you're going to, sort of meet their wishes, in the rightful way. But people notice that. Also with the heart, it works with love, it works with truth, it works with being authentically you. So in order to keep your heart energy as strong as you can, it's actually giving yourself time to connect with yourself. And again, a lot of busy people, women obviously, but a lot of busy people, whether it's men or women, they disconnect from that side, and they almost sort of close that down. But the heart will tell you everything you need to know about yourself. And just placing your hand on your heart,
Mm.
and taking, sort of a deep breath, and just listening to what is my heart trying to tell me today, can be a beautiful experience. It really can. But
And
yes, I mean, the field extends way out, away from you, and it communicates on that sort of emotional information. So people know how you're feeling. Have you ever walked into a room and noticed, without even having a conversation with anyone, who is happy and who is actually,
mm,
sort of challenged with something? You can feel it.
yeah.
And that is your heart, feeling that. The heart expands when we're truthful. The heart expands when we're authentically us, and it contracts when we're sad, or it contracts when we perhaps override ourselves, where we dismiss ourselves. So the heart, yes, it is amazing. It's the heart coherence strengthens, obviously, what we've been talking about earlier, which is the intuition as well,
Mm.
and that sort of inner guidance. So it's, for me, it's incredibly important.
Yeah, one of my favorite breathwork breaths is that coherence breath of 5 to 6 breaths per minute, and it
Yes.
synchronizes the heart and the
Mhm.
breath, and everything's working together, and it does make you feel just so lovely. And yeah, it's wonderful. Can you measure, Margaret? Can you measure those fields from the heart, that electromagnetic
Yes, you
field?
can measure electromagnetic from all of the organs in the body through a squid machine, which I think there's only about two or three in the UK, but I work in abroad in different countries, and I work in hospitals there. So over the years, I've been able to do experiments in there with electrodes on my head, and also using the squid machine, which you just hold on to, and it can give out the hertz, the energy output from each of your organs. So yes, it can be scientifically proven that we are energy beings and we're electromagnetic beings. But our heart connects with every pump of blood, for instance, and the emotion attached to every heartbeat goes to every cell in your body. So, looking at yourself and making yourself important to yourself, and giving yourself that moment just to connect with yourself and how you're feeling in that moment, will have an effect on your health, on your well-being, on every aspect. of you.
And
It's so important.
yeah. And is that why also gratitude, when we practice gratitude, that's why
Totally,
it makes us feel so good as
totally.
well. Yes.
Yes, totally. When you practice gratitude, or you become love, and you accept love, that is the most powerful thing. Your energy just completely explodes out of you. I mean, it really does. So yes, gratitude is incredibly important. And
Yeah.
being in the present moment, and not sort of being 50,000 miles ahead of yourself, thinking about, what's coming up the next month or the next week or hour even, or even going back into the past. It's taking your focus away from being present and being aware that, you're here and you're this magnificent, amazing being that is here. And I don't think, people sort of think about that as often as they should, and give themselves that space to connect with themselves.
Yeah, it's the most powerful thing, isn't it? Because I mean, if you're thinking about the future or thinking about the past, you're just spending all that energy thinking about stuff, well, something which isn't actually even, it doesn't really exist anymore, does it? It's really just,
Absolutely.
you're
Yeah.
just, the reality is here and now. And I
Yes.
think that's what many of us aren't focusing on. So yeah, I'm loving everything that you're saying, because I mean, for me, it's just confirmation of the work that I do with people in terms of bringing people back to this moment and
Yes.
feeling into gratitude, into their heart. And it does make you, yeah, it just it does boost you and it does
Mhm.
energize you, and you can feel that expansion within you, whatever, you can feel that energy field growing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's tangible almost, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
When you feel larger than life, or you feel, that deep sense of peace. And how many people feel that deep sense of peace often in this busy,
Mm.
busy world? But if you can give yourself, just 5 or 10 minutes, that is purely for you per day, it's a beginning, and it'll
So
make a difference.
absolutely. Would you call then this energy field, is that the same word you would use as an aura? Is it the same thing or is it slightly different?
Yes, no, the energy field is your
It is.
electromagnetic aura.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay. Because you have a machine, don't you,
I
where you
do.
can actually see people's auras,
Yes,
which is
yes, in real
completely
time.
mind-blowing. Tell us about that.
Yeah, well, I do a lot of healing treatments, and quite often when people come in, they've lost that sense of being able to be in control of whatever it is that they are suffering. Excuse me. So I have this wonderful machine which I've had for many years now, and you pop your hand on just a little pad, and that sends an electromagnetic energy through you, and it electrifies and spectrifies your energy field, which then shows itself on the screen in front of you. So the client can see not only that, but the chakras and the output of the chakras as well. So they can see whether they're stressed or whether they're, full of energy and bouncy. And they can see when they're sort of out of sync as well with mind and body connection. And so what we do is we put them on that machine initially, and then obviously have Reiki or whatever it is, or whatever the treatment is. And then afterwards, because healing is self-healing, all healing is self-healing, then put them back on the machine and they can see the difference. And that has made such an acute difference with people who have come that felt that, they'd lost control of their bodies, or they were going through, cancer or whatever it is. And they could see that actually allowing energy into the body, allowing self-healing to occur, allowing them to realize that their thoughts can have a huge effect on them. And then seeing it on the machine there in front of them is, I think it's completely, you can't put a value on that in my clinic. And I use that daily. But you
Wow.
can have it also, you can use the aura machine for fun, to look at the aura. I do aura readings as well. So you can look at the different densities of the colors. And people can see that they're not just one color, that their color is changing as they're thinking, as their emotions are creating different oils and vapors from their endocrinal system, sort of some, if they're very happy, it'll be very beautiful, bright colors. If they're sad or they're tired or exhausted, there'll be denser colors. So it's a lovely way of being able to show people that they're more than just a physical body, their energy.
Yes. And I think that what you said about how with healing, that you're not you're facilitating it, but the body is doing the healing itself. And I think
Yes,
that's so empowering for people to know that it's just giving the right conditions to the body
absolutely.
to allow itself to heal and to actually, having had Reiki or something like that, sometimes you think, I think I feel different, I think it's, but you're not that sure, but actually when you can see it, that I
Yes,
kind of, yeah, that's amazing,
it helps,
amazing.
doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
But I mean, if you don't have a machine, you can use rods to, sort of determine where the aura is. So if you have two people, with the rods, you can walk towards them and the rods will open out when they touch the auric energy, field. So that's something you can do, that anybody can, sort of purchase a set of rods or even make a set of rods from, a metal hanger, clothes hanger. And you
Hmm.
can see that you can pick up that energy field because we're kinetic beings as well. So we have all sorts of energy that, we don't use all the time or we're not aware of. We're incredible beings. We're composed of all sorts of wonderful things that are non-tangible that make us who we are. But you can use a pendulum as well if you don't, if you don't have to have an aura machine, but an aura machine does obviously show you so much about yourself.
So I'm just thinking about, I don't know why this came to my mind, but I'm
Mm.
thinking about like a pop star, for example, on
Yeah.
a very small person on a very massive stage who
Yes.
fills a massive arena
Yes.
full of people. I'm just thinking about the energy
Mhm.
there. So presumably that person on the stage has
Yeah.
field
Is
is
push
enormous.
Absolutely. They're pushing their energy out because they're happy, they're vibrant, they're full of vitality, sort of vital energy because they're on the stage. And you can have the person at the back of the auditorium that can feel the passion of the person who's singing, the energy of it. And it's so different to listening to it, or seeing it on the TV. You're there and you're feeling all the energy from all the people in the audience
Mm,
as well. So yes, that they can push their energy. I think it's a charismatic energy. Also, that some people have that charismatic. They can walk into a room and people will just be aware of them.
hmm
And it's the same, obviously, with actors and people on stage or dancers or with anybody that's exuding a lot of energy is picked up by other people because these auric energy fields are interacting.
hmm
Um, the energy field isn't just around us. It's sort of everywhere. It's not. It can't be. It's omnipresent. It's not just a rugby ball shape or whatever that you see, in magazines or whatever. It's something that is pushed out um, and can touch people, as you say, in an auditorium right at the back.
Yeah, amazing. So in order, okay, so I'm now just thinking like practicality. So for someone listening, thinking, right, I really want to expand my energy. I really want
Yes,
to feel, I want to be the radiator in the room. I want to be that
yes,
person.
yes.
We can obviously get quiet and we can obviously try and clear our mind and with
Yes.
thought and protect our energy. Is there anything else, Margaret, you would recommend?
Totally. I mean, if you want to push your energy out, if you think of something that's incredibly happy that that you've gone through, or an experience that you've had that was just larger than life, where you felt amazing, bringing back that thought can actually expand your auric energy field. And when I do it with students, natural, normal auric energy field is more or less a stride. So if you take a big stride in front of you, that's more or less where your energy field would be. And then when I ask them to think about something really, really happy, and then I go with the rods again and, walk towards them, then they will have expanded that at least by 7 or 8 feet just in
Wow.
that moment of thinking something happy. And likewise, I ask them, sadly, to think of something sad, and what happens is when they get into that state, then I'll do the same thing. And the auric energy field can literally be right against their chest. Because when you haven't got that vital energy, it sort of sucks into you, and when you're sad, you're dropping all your vital energies. You're focused on whatever that thought is or whatever's happened to you, and obviously that can bring illness, and it can make you unhealthy because your auric energy field, the chi, the prana, the energy around you feeds you energetically, and if that is sort of tight against you because you're sad, then that is going to make you feel unwell. So it's a lovely way to, even if you think about music or dance, or I love dancing. So dancing, makes me feel larger than life. But you can feel literally larger than life when your aura is expanded. You will feel it. You will feel different.
So what happens when life happens? I don't know. I'm just thinking, grief, for example, or something awful happens, and obviously you have all those feelings, and you need to obviously feel those feelings. What would you say to that? Is it about trying to move through that as quickly as you can and then returning back to doing what feels good? How do you move forward from something like that?
Well, grief, I think is very personal. It can take a long time or it can take a shorter time. Everybody deals with their grief in different ways. But if you are aware of what that grief is, I feel that writing in longhand, writing it out in longhand is, what you're feeling that moment, that present moment, and try to explain it in as sort of in great detail on paper, and sort of getting that out, because sometimes we tend to dig it deeper in and we cover it up, and then it's always going to be there. And then when a situation arises that is similar to whatever it is that we're going through, then that's going to raise its head again, and it's going to, make you feel, really bad. So if you can sort of get it out on paper, and then it's for your eyes only, nobody else's, you could then burn it, ritualistically burn it, and, say, as I'm burning it, I'm letting it go. Because not everybody who is going through grief can talk to anybody. They may not have anybody around them. They may be living on their own or whatever. But there are things that you can do that can get what you're feeling inside out of you. And then if you're ritualistically burning it, it's almost like you're letting part of that go. You're allowing it to go.
Yeah. And I suppose is that similar to all of these subconscious beliefs we hold on to as well, all this conditioning that we've had, all these experiences that we've had through life, which we're perhaps not aware that we are holding on to, but which are creating behaviors such as, I'm thinking, people pleasing, procrastination, whatever it might be. But is it similar to that in that we need to bring awareness to these in order to be able to let them go?
Yes, well, these are mindsets that we've created because it's survival mode in some cases. So, we create a way of behaving, we create a way of expressing or not expressing because it keeps us safe. And I feel that there's many different, obviously in psychology and in NLP and in spiritual work, we're dealing with that side, which I call, the shadow self. Again, it's speaking to, I think, in lots of ways, is again putting your hand on your heart and asking, what is it that I need to be aware of at this moment in order to help me move on, or whatever it is. But it's not ignoring it. It's speaking to it, and then sometimes embracing it for being there for so long. But now it's time for it to move, to move on, and there's a new mindset that you can put in its place. So I think, first of all, it has to be that you need to be aware it is something that you have, or that you're surviving with, in order to, to change that mindset. But the thing is, we created it in the first place. So NLP is neuro-linguistic programming. So we can uncreate it and recreate it in the way that we want, just by focusing on what it is and admitting that this isn't working for us.
It really is as simple as that, isn't it? I think sometimes it feels so much more complicated than that. But aware, I mean, I think the hardest thing is just becoming aware of the patterns.
Yes.
And then once we do, realizing that we actually have the power to be able to change them.
Yes.
And and I think for so long I thought it was hard. It was much more complicated than that. But I think that is it, isn't it?
I think it is, because, a mindset is a mindset, and it controls us, and we behave and we respond and we react because of that. So the only person that can change that is us individually. You can have help. Yes, you can, you can go to a therapist and everything else. But if you don't admit to yourself that this is holding me back, or I need to move on, or who am I? What am I? What do I need? Who do I need around me? May have changed. So it's that authentic self, I think, allowing yourself to say what you feel and feel what you say, and then actually do something about it, because life is so short. And we only have one life, as Margaret, or as Polly, and we need to make the most of it. We need to make every moment count, and every present moment count. So I think, yes, it is us understanding. We've all been through it. We've all had it. We've all got, shadow selves that have been with us throughout our lives. And it's hard sometimes to let them go, because they, a lot of people think, if I do, then nobody's going to love me, or I'm going to be out of this relationship, or I'm going to, whatever it is. But to be authentically yourself is a gift to yourself. And in every way, you're going to get heart coherence. You're going to have a lot happening in you energetically, just by admitting something that is not working, that you've grown out of.
And I suppose that circles back to the beginning of this conversation, when we were talking about purpose, about women who have perhaps lost their sense of purpose, which is away from the roles that they have. Because actually, when you start to have awareness of what might be holding you back from moving forwards, that's going to really help open up avenues to actually what is possible and what actually you might want to do. Is there anything else, Margaret, that you would suggest to someone? Because talking back onto this idea of helping women move forwards to really live their best possible life in the way that they want to, in the most authentic possible way. Is there anything else you would say to them, which there's some small steps forwards that they can start making today?
I think the biggest thing is listening to yourself, and not poo-hooing it, or just, digging it deeper in. Knowing that your body is telling you, that your intuitive nature is telling you that there's something wrong. And then literally, sort of have that conversation with self, have that conversation, with your heart. You can write down, if you're not aware of what you want, like we said right at the beginning, writing a list of what you don't want allows you to see, or to be aware of what you do want, because it's not on the list. And having the courage, really, and the perseverance to put all of that love and that care that you've put into other people and other things, to just say, come on now, it's my turn, it's my time. and put that love back onto self, which
Mm.
is literally just giving yourself a moment to say, who am I? Because I think what happens is the amazing person you lose as you're giving it away to everybody else, being the carer, being the mother, being the wife, being, the businesswoman, being whatever you are, you're giving that energy out. And we often get lost in all of that. And it's sort of like gathering that back and just listening. What do I really, really want?
Yeah, I love that image of just gathering your energy back and creating your own, but yeah, creating, protecting your energy field. And then it's going to be much easier to really figure it out and feel more like you. And I presume, also just getting quiet, taking time for yourself, which notoriously we're
Totally.
not great at doing as
Yes.
women, but it was
Yes.
so important.
Absolutely. And treating self as well. I mean, nutritionally is, eating the right things,
Hmm.
doing things that you have perhaps put on a bucket list that you've hidden away somewhere. Start to think about those things that you wanted to do and do them in small steps. And that way, you're not feeling guilty that you're actually thinking about yourself. Because a lot of women do feel guilty if they're not nurturing others, to put that love on themselves is, oh yeah, but I need to do this or I need to do that, because we're multifaceted beings, aren't we?
Hmm.
But yes, to have that quiet and think about, what is it you really want? And perhaps even, like I say, make a list of what you want. And if conversations happen, don't go with what you think you ought to be doing, but go with what you think, do you know what? That would really lighten up my heart. I really fancy doing that. And then having the courage to say, what if we do this instead? It's
Yeah.
just making small changes.
Hmm. Love it. Thank you so much, Margaret. It's been
Oh, you're very welcome.
absolutely wonderful to talk to you. I could talk to you all day. For anybody who would love to find out a little bit more about you, come and work with you, have a reading with you, well, all the things, where can they come and find you?
Well, I have a podcast, Margaret de Petro podcast, which is talking about all of the things that we've been talking about here. Also, they can go on my website and, get in touch with me there. And there are some courses that are up and coming, so they'll find those courses there. So yes, just give me a ring or
You're
text me.
you're a busy lady. Lots of
Yes,
things going on. I mean, are you ever going to stop, or you just
I
love what
don't
you
think
do?
so. I'm certainly not pipes and slippers, and I really do, sort of. I love the present moment. I love thinking about, future things. But if you live in the present moment and enjoy what's around you now, even the small things, that can make you feel so different. But no, I'll never retire, I don't think.
Yeah.
I just love what I do.
Yeah. And that's it, isn't it? That's it. If it
Yes,
fuels you, that's just fantastic. Thank you
yeah.
so much, Margaret. It's been
Oh, you're
absolutely
very, very
wonderful.
welcome. And thank you for inviting me.
Oh, my pleasure.
Before you go, just to let you know that you'll find a selection of gentle, practical offers at really accessible prices over on my website. Just go to pollywarren.com. They're all designed to support your everyday breathing, to ease anxiety, and help you build a more resilient, flexible nervous system so you can feel calmer and bring a little more steadiness into your daily life. Everything I share is designed to meet you where you are and to fit into real busy lives. If you'd like to stay connected between episodes, you can also find me over on Instagram at Polly Warren Coaching. This is where I share simple reminders and tools and reflections to help you come back to calm throughout the week. And if you're enjoying Take a Breath, it would mean so much if you could take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. It really does help this podcast reach more women who might need a little space to breathe too. Thank you so much for being here and for taking this time for yourself. And remember, sometimes all you need to do is take a breath.